how we would change it. This is where we take a look at something in Disney parks, whether it be at Disneyland or Walt Disney World. In this case, it's in both. Today, it's about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and more specifically, what is wrong with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. This was one of the most ambitious land expansions, both in Walt Disney World and Disneyland for the Walt Disney Company. This was one of those things that they put a lot of their chips on as, being convinced that this was what was going to solve a lot of issues in terms of overcrowding. It was going to solve issues in terms of adding more spectacular, over-the-top attractions. It was just going to be this over-the-top immersive environment that was going to rival, say, Harry Potter Land at Universal and become sort of the next big thing in theme parks. Now, the land is officially fully open at this point. Okay, so we've waited, we've had time to think about this. Not only have we seen Star Wars Rise of the Resistance come online in both parks, we also have the Smugglers Run attraction, we have the various restaurants and eating establishments within this ultra-themed land, and in both parks, it is not doing anywhere near the amount of numbers that people anticipated. Tyler, Katrina, before we really dive in, let's say first what is positive about this place.
Ooh, positive. Well, it definitely expanded the park, so now more people can actually like kind of move around, so it's not so cramped. So I think that was a really great idea.
At least in Disneyland's case.
Disneyland anyway. And then, you know, it's definitely, I love seeing people's reactions when they walk into Galaxy's Edge, because it is mind-blowing when you go underneath like a tunnel, like in like Florida, you go in a tunnel, all of a sudden you just shoot out and you're like, oh my God, where did I go?
Yeah.
And then even in, Disneyland, you can just go, like, I love like the critter country like area, and you just like walk along the path, and then all of a sudden you just open up and you're like, whoa, like this is crazy. And I love seeing people's first reactions because it is kind of mind-blowing. But then, but I'm trying to think of some other things that are positive. I love seeing like little kids react to like Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca walking around. Like he's probably like the best part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, him and like Rey and everything, they're probably the stormtroopers, I would say, are really great too. But I think what they do right is they make it so that when you walk in there, everything feels like you are at Star Wars. Every door handle, every metal grate, every light fixture, every single thing that is there was made specifically for Galaxy's Edge to look like it is part of the Star Wars universe. Sure. To me, that's the coolest thing. You walk in and you're not going to see just things from Earth. I think that's the thing that they really do right. And then they also nailed Rise of the Resistance. Yeah. I mean, Rise of the Resistance is a fantastic ride, fantastic experience, I like to call it, actually, just even more so than a ride, because it's a ride. It's technically transporting you places, but really it's not as much about that ride vehicle as like a thrill ride might be, or necessarily. So anyway,
kind of breaks the boundaries of what a typical ride has been. At
right,
Disney Park.
Exactly. So to me, those are the two main things that they got right. They really make you feel like, you're in that world. When you like take a picture of it, like when you kind of take a snapshot, you're like, oh yeah, we're in that world.
Right.
And then also Rise of the Resistance is just kind of an incredible feat that, honestly, if I sat down I would love to see how they sat down and created that ride, because it probably went through so many iterations and so many of like, is this something we can do? Or like so many questions for them, I'm sure. But that's for me, the things that really they did right.
That stand out, absolutely. And I think what it comes down to, and the reason why we're even asking this question about, how would we change things and what's wrong with the place is Disney sort of put all the emphasis on this land coming and kind of being the zenith of all things creative, all things new, and all things exciting for their theme parks. And the crowds just haven't been there. And on top of it, you hear the first quarter earnings call that has come from CEO Bob Iger and the executive team, and predominantly, I mean, attendance has been flat. Even with this bump of Rise of the Resistance, I mean, there was a 2% increase in attendance. Other than that, this whole new land that should have brought in tens of thousands more people a day just doesn't seem to be doing the trick. So let's start figuring out here, what what are the things that detract from this? What are the things that just make this land not what people thought it was going to be?
Well,
Yeah.
do you want to start off?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a list of things that I think that could be, could help this area. I think the number one thing that obviously everybody's harped on over and over again is walk around characters,
Yeah.
man. We need, yes, it's nice to have Chewie and Rey, and R2D2 now has been added, and it's nice to see those characters walking around, but I don't want face character. I don't want these stars of the Star Wars universe. I want it to be a dude you've never met before. I want it to be people that you've never met. I want it to be a whole brand new experience. Like you're showing up into a town of just people who are, from different creeds too, like different races. I want to see people in prosthetic makeup. I want to see people that are, dressed up as droids. Like,
You saw that in concept art.
right. And
You
not
know,
every droid needs to be an actual droid.
Right.
Like much like C-3PO. You could hide a person in there and I would be happy
Right.
with that, Music. I mean, I think they made a huge mistake not putting music as in the forefront of Star Wars. You walk in when you picture Star Wars, when you think of Star Wars, somebody's name that you couldn't even go without is oh my god, and now I'm blanking on it. Of course,
John Williams?
John Williams, of course, yeah, of course.
Master
You
musician.
have to have John Williams associated with it when you have Star Wars, right? I mean, and to just have the music only be in the rides, Oga's Cantina, and then the entranceway.
Yeah.
It's a disservice. It really, really puts a damper on everything because you walk in there and it's another layer when you don't have anybody walking around. You don't have any of these, any civilians or aliens or droids walking around. It's another layer of emptiness.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like, and the thing that I don't understand too is, like I said, they have it in the rides and things like that. So if you're going to put it in the ride to kind of manipulate the mood, but then you're not going to put it in the actual land because, oh no, we want you to feel like you're actually there. Like, what would make me feel like I was there is if you were playing Star Wars music.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
every time I watch Star Wars, I hear Star Wars music, What were you going to say?
well,
You
like
expect
again,
that.
like they manipulate when you enter. So people film themselves walking in the land, and they slowly hear this music that they've never heard before, but it's like whimsical John Williams-esque type Star Wars music, and you get excited because you're slowly walking in. The music's building your emotions up, and then you walk in. Imagine that music gone, and it's just creaks and speeders going by, and you can just hear vroom and like all these things. It's not gonna, when you walk through, it's not gonna be so emotional because you're going in and you're just like, oh, I just hear noises, and then you walk in and you see it and you're like, oh wow, cool. But I see these people getting so excited and they're building up because they hear this music, and it's like making you excited. Like when you go to Harry Potter, it's the same thing. You walk in and you hear this beautiful music, and it doesn't, and again, even if if John Williams created that the ambiance music for the border, why don't you just play something like that? It doesn't even need to be the Star Wars theme music, honestly. They could just create something that's sort of like Star Wars music that we relate to, and it doesn't have to be, and then they just create it throughout the like the land, because in Harry Potter, yeah, they play like the same 6 themes over and over and over again. And that's fine. We kind of like, oh, well, it makes you excited going into Harry Potter, but if they don't want to do that, create something like you did on the border and then just leave it throughout the land, and then maybe when you get to the Rebel area, like it's like a different kind of theme, and then when you go to the First Order, it's more of like a march song, and like
it really needs to
I
be
don't know, something.
what it is it's not it's like a part of the ambience, and when you have music like that, it becomes an ambient thing, and to say to me, oh well, we wanted you to feel like you were actually there, so playing music would take you out of it. I 100% disagree with that. Then take music out of every movie, take music out of every video game. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever, and I think that was a horrible choice they made. I really do. I've also heard from people, I wasn't at any of these events, but like people at like the press events and stuff, that when they were playing music throughout the land, like it felt great, So it's like, okay, they should just keep on doing that. I mean, another thing too is like, I hate to, we're going to we've compared it already to Harry Potter a couple times.
Right.
the reason we're doing that is because this is like the direct answer to Harry Potter.
Right.
Like
It's
Universal
the counterattack.
Yeah. This is the counterattack.
Right.
And so then I think of them back to back, and I think of exactly. There you go. Yes. So I think of them back to back, and I think of the windows. Every single window in Hogsmeade, every single window in Diagon Alley is alive, has something moving, has a sound playing, just something to look at that actually isn't just sitting there stagnant, something to interact with your wand even. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge needs more kinetic movement. There's so many ships sitting doing nothing there, and then the sound effects are like, they kind of take away from it in a way, because all of a sudden you'll hear like an X-Wing flying over, and you'll look up and you'll be like, oh, and then you realize, oh, actually it's nothing. Of course it's nothing. And there's no animation or movement or anything.
No smoke or something.
Right.
Like
No,
of
there's
the
like-
one that's landing.
Yeah.
That's on the top of the whatever docking bay.
They have their woodworker area in the back that's like, just hire a guy to carve something. They have dudes carving things at Knott's Berry Farm. If Knott's Berry Farm can do it, so can Disney. Why aren't they selling carved porgs? What, am I missing something?
Because I think the demand would be too much. Because I feel like everybody would want a porg, and this poor guy would be like, and like trying
Sign
to
up
make it.
for
You know what I mean?
I mean, sign up for it, and it's
They would have to like mass produce.
you know,
which
You put
is
a
fine.
premium on it like you do the lightsabers.
like the candy cane.
Sure.
They do the candy. They hand make the candy canes every year, and they still get away with doing that. So
Okay,
I mean,
I'll
I
give you
think
that
they
one.
could. I think they could
Got
do.
me there, Mr. Crouch.
I have more that I could do, but I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. So if anybody else does anybody else have?
I mean,
something?
I love the passion in your list here.
I know.
because
I get.
This has been building in you for a long time. You can feel it, right? Katrina, what else is on your mind? What else is on your list?
Well, I do want to say, like, again, I wish that Oga's Cantina is one of my, I love it and I hate it at the same time. So I love the theming. I think it's great. But again, I think it's really, it's a real bummer to order a drink you're super excited for, and then you learn it's pre-made. I get they want to control alcohol because they don't want, people double pouring or, asking for more. So they're able to try to keep it consistent. But to have such a premium price tag on pre-made alcohol,
Precisely.
and then make you sit there, and then you don't even get to sit where you kind of want to sit sometimes, and then you have to like share tables with people, which is totally fine. But like, for instance, like there was a time where we were with a group of people, and they told us to take this like little nook area off to the side, but then two people had to sit on stools, and I particularly have a horrible back, so I kind of want more support. So I'm not going to really want to sit on a stool for like the hour you have in there and then enjoy my drink, and then I could barely hear anybody that I'm talking to anyway.
Well,
and there's
just-
people that try and,
It's loud.
it's loud.
And to piggyback on that, we've actually been with people who need to have a seat, and they have given us a hard time
Yeah,
about
they
like,
did.
oh, well, it's going to be hard to get a place for you all to sit together, and it's going to be like, well, that's kind of what we need. Like, we made a reservation, so I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you. I feel like that's kind of what I feel like. It's weird when other parts of the parks are like so accommodating, and then Oga's Cantina is like, well, I don't know
Well,
about
Tyler,
that.
accommodations can't be made in a galaxy far, far away.
I guess
know
so.
what
It's
you're
Bat-
expecting.
I'm sorry, it's not Disney. It's Batuu. What was
Right.
I
I
thinking?
know, gosh, it's crazy.
Different
Like
planet.
management's different there. But again, like, and then like the snacks, I don't know. It's just Oga's Cantina. I wanted something so much more. I don't know. I guess.
Well,
I just
I'll
wanted
tell
like
you-
I guess more. Like again, people are freaking out over Regal Eagle, and they make your drinks to order.
Yeah, I
it shouldn't
know.
be that
It
way.
shouldn't be that way.
You know what I mean? Like it again. Like
Completely agree.
that just needs to be revamped, or like offer some kind of like shot that's like special that, because they have like what the fuel
The
thingy,
jet fuel.
the
Jet fuel.
fuel is like kind of like a shot or sort of.
It's like an old fashioned.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. But they like that can count towards your one or something like that to make it, I don't know, better themes. I don't know. It's just their wine, for instance, they dye the Chardonnay blue, and you could taste the metallic taste of like dyeing the color. I get it. They want to make blue wine. It's super cool. I thought it was cool after I started drinking it, but then like they charge the premium for the wine, and like that's not even that great.
I mean, I'll tell you what I think they need to add to Oga's Cantina: a
What's that?
full-blown restaurant.
Yep.
Food.
I mean, that's really what is missing from the entire land too. And hearing the rumors of the fact that there was a restaurant plan that was going to be a lot like Jabba's Palace palace where there would be entertainment, and
That'd
there would
be really
be
cool.
it would be a sit down environment where they bring you food and everything like that.
Because you have like
That-
dancers or something
Yeah,
going
exactly,
on,
yeah.
like some crazy cool ladies, like with their like weird.
Or even
headbands.
imagine if some heinous business went down and something that's, quote unquote, not even part of the show happened where, some smugglers came in or did whatever in a Jedi,
Like a fight breaks out.
Yeah, a fight breaks out. Exactly. Like
then
that's,
pew, 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 pew.
like that's what I want to see. Like, and when, exactly. Thank you, Kurt. And when we, and like when we first started hearing about Oga's Cantina, people were like, oh, well, maybe the guy will, saddle up next to you at the bar and start talking to you about this or that, and they'll know by your phone that you're like part of the resistance or part of the First Order. None of that ever happened. None of that stuff ever happens in Oga's Cantina, and it never will because they're pumping people in and out too fast.
Yeah.
So
They wanna
that's
give
what the
people reasons to stick around.
exactly,
Right.
and
They don't
that's
want
yeah,
people
yeah,
waiting.
exactly. And that's what the restaurant would be good for, is doing those experiences, on a grander scale. You could even set it up like, how they would set up like a character meal where they could have special times where they have people come and sit all at the same time, like even like a hoop-de-doo review type of thing, where everybody comes and sits at the same time and then they all leave at the same time and you pay like a flat rate for your food maybe. I don't know. I would be
Mando
happy with
walks
that.
in with his baby.
Yes, please.
Don't mind us.
That's right. Watch the kid for me. I need to use the restroom.
Oh my god. I just wanted something more from like Oga's, and like the restaurant or like the docking bay had, their food's kind of like meh, and it's cool how they get served. I just wish there was like better options, kind of like in Pandora. They have like a really good quick service and it's delicious, and I always want to eat there. And then
Yeah.
I like love to like talk about like when the data pad. I wanted something more from the data pad, like Tyler was talking about, like with Harry Potter with the wands. I wanted something physical to happen. Like you stand by this like, I don't know, thingy, and then you try to
Terminal.
hack it, and you're just like, and you see these lights happen, but they just do that all the time. And when you hack it, it doesn't like make a sound
There's
or
no real reaction.
something
Yeah.
that's like beep boop boop, and then it's just like, oh, I just did something.
Everything you do on the Play Disney app only happens on your phone. And I think that's where they really missed it. You could like Agent P over in Epcot or the Pirate's Adventure over in Magic Kingdom at the Adventureland. Like those things, they interact and other people see it happening
And they
too.
go, "How do you do that?"
There's
Yeah.
so many times where we've like fired a cannon and people have been like, that's so cool. And that'll never happen in Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Think about the water fountain with the now I'm blanking on what they even call them, but that tentacle thing that was in the trash compactor in the first in New Hope.
I don't know what it's called either.
You press the drinking fountain button and the little eyeball comes up out of there every
Right.
now and then, and there's like that routinely has just like 20 people standing around it pressing that button going, oh, there it is, and again. Why didn't that happen in more places?
Right.
Like, I mean, you walk into Doc Ondor's shop, and there's like a little baby one of those, and there's a baby Sarlacc, and they have all these cool little things to look at. All of the places in Galaxy's Edge should have looked like Doc Ondor's.
Dianoga.
Yeah, it's
There it is. Yes.
Dianoga.
Dianoga. That's what they're called. Yeah. Every single place in Galaxy's Edge should have looked like Doc Ondor's. And unfortunately, Doc Ondor's is the only place that gives you that feeling of like, oh yeah, there's a lot to look at in here,
And you would think also that there would have been a lot more kinetic energy throughout the land,
Yeah.
just from the sake of, it's supposed to be, especially the marketplace village area. You kind of expected there to be, based on the concept art we were all shown, there to be creatures and animals and these transportation creatures and stuff like that. All of this stuff was shown originally at D23 and at the big expo in the concept art. And I understand things are subject to change, but it seems to me like you kind of gutted a big piece of what would have been the heart of the land, and the entertainment value is gone also. I mean, there are a few very minute moments throughout the day where, you have Kylo Ren doing something or you have Chewbacca doing something, but for the most part, and people follow them around in packs because that's all there is to cling
You
to.
can't have like the characters like again like I've seen like Chewbacca or something walk through that little shopping area, but it's too cramped.
Yeah.
And so when everybody starts like packing in, it's not very fun. And I like again, when I want music in that area, I imagine it being like hustle and bustle, people yelling, trying to sell product,
Right.
and like so at least have voiceovers that are like kind of like in the ambiance, like shouting from like higher up, trying to shout like, you know, things are on sale, go buy this, da 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 da, or stormtroopers are coming, or like try to get something that's like more like with like vocal stuff to get people like excited, and then maybe trying to like sync like stormtroopers are coming, and then stormtroopers like start walking out and seeing what's happening, or people trying to sell, you know, products and saying there's a sale, blah blah blah, and like, or something that, because like again that marketplace needs people. It needs like the native Batuians to like start trying to sell stuff.
Well, as Disney Parks chairman Bob Chapek put it, every cast member in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is the entertainment. They don't
but
need
you're
specific
forcing these
entertainment.
cast members to do it, and they are not actors.
No.
Their job is
There
what
are a
they're
handful
hired
that are
for.
really into it, and
I
it's
love
so
it.
appreciated.
I love it. It
The
makes
ones
it
that get into
special.
it.
But
Yeah.
when you get other people that are kind of like, you know, I'm from Torrance, and you're like,
I'm punching the clock.
Yeah.
yeah, but again, that's not their fault. Like, they're paid to do what their job title is, and I expect that from them. And then I love the ones that are like, you know, trying to talk in like Batuian things and like thinking up like their own story. But then you need those actors that kind of like walk up and like talk to you and like, you know, I don't know, do their thing. And then like the prices on product I wish wasn't so expensive. Like, you know, you build a droid and then you're done. You build a lightsaber, you're done, you know, like Kurt, how many lightsabers are you going to build? Like there's
just
5
built
different
one.
ones, right?
Yeah.
And you only can buy one because it's like $100
And can we see it?
Yeah.
again.
Can we see it again?
Here, I'll let you. You want to hold it?
Ooh,
might
oh
want to. Oh,
my.
My goodness.
So again, like you can add different
Whoa.
things, but it's so.
I'm not gonna do anything.
Look out!
Don't touch it.
Don't. Yeah. What are you doing? Whoa! Oh, my God.
I like use special lotion that repels.
Is that your lotion?
It sounds like you're like a little purring. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. Careful.
Sorry, gonna
Oh my
hit you in
God.
the face.
He almost like
Decapitator.
I know. Oh my
God.
god. But again, it's really heavy. It's nice. It's like metal.
It's nice.
and stuff. But again, how many are you gonna build?
Right.
Like, if you have a
It is a
family
one
of
and done
5,
activity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe you get like 2 kids that love Star Wars. They get to do that. The girl gets to do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique or something. You know, you try to spread it. But again, you're kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's just, I was like, I just want to hold it.
I was just
But
looking.
it looks
just
really
looking.
neat. I love it. It's really cool. I'm not like bashing it or anything. But again, we're talking about price, and like they're not getting the people that they want in there because probably the prices are too high, and they just jacked up the prices of park tickets.
Yep. And annual
So
passes.
I mean, and
yeah.
they're complaining that not enough people are coming in, and it's just like, well, you guys just spent an arm and a leg on trying to get in the park, and you're gonna spend like $17 on a mixed drink, and you're gonna build a lightsaber for $100,
$200.
$200,
or
Yep.
$200.
Yep.
right? So yeah,
Yeah.
he knows.
And Kurt, what are some of the positives you take away from this land? I mean, you know, you're a Star Wars fan. You're kind of a Star Wars nerd, right? So, you know,
Well,
you're
how
somebody
dare
that was
you?
looking
How
forward to this.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know, but
Buy the shirt, the lightsaber, and all the other Star
Yeah.
Wars stuff I wear.
Dweeb.
I mean, I was trying to hide it. You know, I was really excited for the initial time I went to Star Wars Land. Like, it really is that experience of the first time you go. You know, seeing all the people, you know, seeing those ones that do want to interact, going on the Millennium Falcon for the first time, eating food, and it comes in a tray. You feel like you're some kind of traveler. It's very mystic that first time, but that's it really.
yeah.
You know, I got my lightsaber. I got my little thing that attaches it to my waist and everything. It's cool. It was cool while
Fancy.
we were doing it. And, you know, the ceremony behind the lightsaber thing, that's what you're paying for is the ceremony. Everyone holding their lightsabers up. It gets very like, oh, I'm a Jedi
And,
now.
but what do they have in that ceremony to make it more special?
Well, so,
Music.
Yeah, they do have music in the ceremony.
do, yeah.
And
Yep.
the actors that are doing the ceremony were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they were some
Yeah,
of
we
the
had a good
best.
guy.
They
Yeah,
get so inspiring, you know? And
Yeah.
you're like, yes!
Exactly.
I enjoyed making the saber.
It was really cool,
did.
like
Yeah.
watching him do it because he was all excited and stuff.
Yeah, so, which color is yours? Your saber?
I think
Purple.
I went purple for my. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what my wife did. Is the purple one?
Yeah, yeah. I also feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm hard on Galaxy's Edge a lot,
Yeah.
and I think probably a lot of people are listening and they're like, "Boy, this guy
There
really
goes
hates
Tyrant
this place."
Tyler again.
Yeah, really. I do want to say though that like again, we already prefaced it with the Harry Potter stuff. That's really where I get upset, I think, is when I look at them compared to each other. Because you know, Disney never came out and said like, "Oh, hey, this is our answer to Harry Potter," but we all know that's what it was. We all know internally they were all like, "Oh, we got to come up with something to fight Potter off," like, and so I really thought it was going to be like on the same level, and I just feel like it's not. And it's disappointing when you think about for your entire life, Disney has always been the company that can far out succeed anybody in creating these experiences and these stories, and to see them succumbing to what I can only guess is like them not wanting to spend a bunch of money on it.
Sure.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks because I had really high hopes, and you know, I feel like I'm almost about to like start crying. I'm like,
He's getting
like,
so passionate about it.
I am passionate about it. Like it makes me sad that that I feel like Disney did a disservice to their own IP. Like
Yeah.
it really is like kind of crazy to me that they just didn't spend a little bit of extra money to really get those final touches in there. And it's hurting them.
You think about the number of people within the company that had been working on this for years, that you know had a lot of sleepless nights, that you know sort of poured themselves into creating this truly immersive, over-the-top, spectacular experience. And you know, you see it on the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. A lot of things never see the light of day, and so
I give them so much credit for all the hard work that they did, and you know that someone shot all of their ideas down because they're geniuses.
Yeah.
And then you know, like Chapek came in and was like, "That's too expensive," and then cut it off.
who?
Chapek.
Wow, tough. Yeah. No, it's crushing.
Yeah.
It's crushing because you know that there's a lot of talent that has been poured into creating this over-the-top experience, and you walk into this land and you're truly captivated by the grandeur of it all, how spectacular it all looks. But then as you start to spend time in the land, you start to realize, man, there isn't a whole lot to do, and you get bored pretty quick, I should say. Other than being captivated by the surroundings of it all, you know, I'm not a Star Wars nerd. I'm not somebody that grew up going, I gotta watch it, or you know, oh my god. Jabba the Hutt is my homeboy.
You're not gonna wait outside for a whole day to get your ticket, wait in line.
I'm not
so you
that
can
guy.
Watch it. Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I don't have much of an emotional connection to Star Wars. Most people tend to, but I don't. It's one of those properties that I just don't care that much about. And so I thought, you know, this land will probably win me over the way Pandora, World of Avatar, won me over, because that wasn't even a Disney property at the time. They built this, and I thought, okay, I've never seen Pandora. How's this going to fare? How am I even going to appreciate this? I ended up loving the natural beauty of this place, and
Isn't that crazy?
being blown away by the technology they used in the rides, and now I have an affinity for it. I love that place. I love spending time in Pandora. I still don't feel that way about Galaxy's Edge.
And they don't have characters in Pandora either. I mean, they have
Great point.
like the guy on the little robo thing, and then they have like a couple people like, oh, bang on the drums and stuff. And they don't have like the characters like we want, like, you know, Chewbacca walking around. But again, they have other things. Like if you go by the water and you make like clapping sounds, they like shoot water at you, and then you're pretty much waiting like 2 hours in line for Flight of Passage. But they have like good food, and they have alcohol that you can go buy and like, you know, stand in line, walk around, enjoy it. And it's just, I don't know, and then like the little, I don't know, what is that thing you like to rub? It's like a plant, and you rub it, it has like a wound or whatever, and then it like
there's that
water.
weird capsule, the weird capsule like at the beginning that
thing
has,
you
like
like to rub.
squirting, it like squirts stuff out. Hey, listen,
how it goes bad.
Listen, you rub it and it squirts stuff out.
Heyo.
It really is what happens.
Goodness.
It's true. And it's
Scandalous.
a picture spot. So,
Yeah.
but but they somehow they did it right.
Yeah.
You know, and then Star Wars, I have more of a connection to, so I want more justice for that instead of Avatar. Avatar, I watched it like once, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, somehow they nailed it. And Tyler and I, a couple weeks ago, he took me into Oga's Cantina for the first time. I had never been in there. I don't really drink. I don't really, there's always a line. You got to make a reservation. And so it was always something that I thought, maybe one day, just not now. And so I always sort of ignored it. But we went in there. Great vibe, cool place. Overpriced drinks, but certainly a location that I thought, okay, I've done it. I can say I've done it. I don't have any desire to go back because, again, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm not a Star Wars super nerd.
You have to make a reservation to get in instead of a spur of a
It's
whim
more
moment.
trouble than I care to, get myself into.
Yeah.
And so I have no desire to go back in there other than to say, oh, man, I got this really great picture with DJ Rex or something like that,
Unless you have a friend that's never seen it before, and then you're like, hey, let's go to
That's
Oga's
probably the only
Cantina.
reason why I would go back in there.
But other than that, it's just kind of we like doing the spur of the moment stuff. We don't like to pre-plan, grabbing a drink. Like at DCA, you can mobile order a beer or something and then pick it up later.
Mm-hmm.
And over there, it's just you have to plan. You need to make sure you're going to be at Star Wars. You're going to make your lightsaber, make your droid, have a drink, then maybe grab something to eat after you drink because there's no food in there besides snacks. And then go ride the ride. So you literally have to plan the whole time instead of making it a cool experience. I don't know.
Any final parting notes as to how you would change it? Anything else on your
Music.
I mean, we've said it 1,000 times. More entertainment. Kylo Ren versus Rey. Flying X-Wings. They made X-Wings for the press thing. Come on, make them fly over. What are we doing with our lives? I don't understand. It
seems like relatively simple fixes to start making this land what it should have been all along.
Yeah. Ooh, even do shadows. The simple things. You don't have to pay people to walk, but when you're going to a corner, seeing shadows and stuff of when you go to Pirates and the guy's fighting up at the top.
Yeah, a lot can be done with
even
lighting.
things
Do
like
shadows.
Yeah.
Just something. Just give me anything.
I think about that even at night with the sounds of the different craft flying overhead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot you can do with light, to sort of simulate that
Sure.
and to make it feel like there's really something up there.
Some lasers or something. Yeah.
I mean, and
Simple
I
things.
just that one ship that's on top of the docking bay 7. All they need to do is make the wings move a little bit. It really wasn't that complicated, but it was all. I'm guessing it was all for budget, and that's a huge bummer. So
It is. Well, that's how we would change it with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, both in Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disneyland Park. What are your thoughts? Let us know. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook Live, leave your comments below and share with us what you think might better the overall Star Wars Galaxy's Edge experience. And if you think we're off base and it's the greatest land that has ever been created, let us know that too.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.